Have you ever noticed how the moment you step away, people suddenly seem more interested in you? It's as if your absence flips a switch, making you the main character in their story. Why is it that the less available you are, the more attractive you become? This isn't just coincidence or chance. It's rooted in psychology and the ancient wisdom of Stoicism. Think about it. Have you ever felt like people value you more when you're not so accessible? For example, when you decide to leave a party early, everyone suddenly asks, why did they leave? It's ironic, and a little amusing, how human nature works. The things that seem rare or out of reach tend to capture our attention the most. Before we dive in, I invite you to take a simple yet impactful action. If you find value in what you're about to learn, consider hitting the like button. It's a small gesture, but it helps YouTube recognize this content as meaningful and share it with others who, just like you, are looking for guidance. By doing so, you're not just supporting this channel, you're also creating a ripple effect that can help countless others discover these insights. If you're enjoying this content so far, feel free to subscribe and share it with someone who might need to hear this message. Together, we can spread these ideas and make meaningful changes, one step at a time. In this video, we're diving deep into the science of attraction and the power of the Stoic mindset. You'll discover 10 practical strategies that will not only make you more desirable when you step away, but also help you command respect and admiration effortlessly. If you're ready to explore the art of attracting rather than chasing, let's get started. So why does moving away make you more attractive? First reason, the psychology of scarcity. Why distance creates desire. Picture this. You're at a dinner party. The room is buzzing, conversations overlapping, and you're sitting there, politely making small talk with the person next to you. They're not particularly interesting, but hey, you're being nice. Suddenly, halfway through dessert, someone who barely said 2 words all evening gets up and leaves. What happens next? The entire table is suddenly obsessed with their whereabouts. Why did they leave? Did something happen? They seem so mysterious. That, my friend, is the scarcity effect in action. People value what they can't have, or what they think they're about to lose. The moment you make yourself less available, you become a limited edition. And let's face it, who doesn't want something rare? We live in a world where everything is instant and overexposed. Social media, constant updates, text messages, always online. But when you step back, stop posting every meal, every thought, every move, you create a vacuum. And in that vacuum, intrigue thrives. It's not just about playing hard to get. It's about genuinely understanding your value and not being afraid to let others experience your absence. When you stop being the default option, people start realizing just how much they miss you. Funny how that works, isn't it? Second reason, autonomy. The allure of self-control. Let me tell you a secret. Nothing is more attractive than someone who is completely in control of their own life. When you decide to walk away, not out of anger or pettiness, but out of self-respect, you send a clear message. I don't need to be here to feel whole. Think about the last time you saw someone confidently decline an invitation or step out of a toxic conversation without drama. Didn't they instantly seem more poised, more composed? That's the power of autonomy. It's not about running away. It's about walking with purpose. When you're autonomous, you're not chasing validation. You're not sticking around just to fill the silence. And that's incredibly attractive because it shows you have something many people lack: boundaries. Third reason, the phantom effect. The power of being a mystery. Now, let's talk about ghosts, but not the scary kind. The phantom effect is what happens when you're not always around to explain yourself. It's the art of being mysterious. Have you ever wondered why characters in movies who don't reveal much about themselves are so captivating? It's because their absence, or their silence, sparks curiosity. The less you say, the more others fill in the blanks. Imagine this. You skip a few social gatherings, or you don't reply to messages instantly. At first, people might not notice, but soon enough, they're thinking, what's going on with them? Your absence starts to speak louder than your presence ever could. And here's the twist. Mystery isn't about playing games. It's about living a life that's so full, so rich, that you don't have to explain every detail. When you're selective with your time and energy, people begin to wonder what makes you tick. And in that wondering, attraction builds. By embracing scarcity, autonomy, and a touch of mystery, you don't just become more attractive, you redefine how people perceive your value. And the best part, you're not trying to impress anyone. You're simply being you, on your terms. Are you ready to boost your attractiveness with Stoic wisdom? 10 steps to take now. Number 1. Mastering emotional control. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic philosopher, once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. Emotional control is one of the core tenets of Stoicism, and for good reason. The way you react to situations defines how others perceive you, and how you perceive yourself. Psychology backs this up with the concept of emotional regulation. Studies show that people who manage their emotions effectively are not only seen as more trustworthy, but also as more competent and resilient. Staying calm under pressure signals to others that you're someone they can rely on, even when things get tough. Let's break this down with a simple example. Imagine you're stuck in traffic. A driver cuts you off, and for a split second, you feel a surge of anger. Now you have two choices. You can lean on the horn, yell in frustration, and let the situation ruin your mood for the next hour. Or you can take a breath, acknowledge the anger without letting it control you, and move on. The Stoic approach. Focus on what's within your control, your reaction. The traffic isn't something you can change, but how you handle it is entirely up to you. By choosing calm over chaos, you protect your peace of mind and maintain your emotional balance. Here's another relatable situation. You've worked hard on a project, and your boss gives you lukewarm feedback. It's tempting to either lash out defensively or spiral into self-doubt. But a Stoic mindset would remind you to pause, separate the feedback from your self-worth, and view the situation objectively. Is there constructive criticism you can use to improve? If so, take it and grow. If not, let it go. Marcus Aurelius also advises, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. This aligns beautifully with modern psychology's emphasis on cognitive reframing, the ability to change your perspective on a situation to see it in a more constructive light. The beauty of mastering emotional control is that it doesn't just make you more attractive, it also makes life easier. People are drawn to those who can weather storms with grace, and they'll seek you out for your steady presence. Whether it's a minor annoyance or a major challenge, emotional control allows you to lead with strength and poise. So next time life throws you a curveball, remember the Stoic wisdom, your mind is your kingdom. Rule it well. Number 2. Practicing strategic silence. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, wisely advised, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." And yet, in a world where everyone feels the need to narrate their every waking thought, thank you, social media, silence has become a rare and undervalued superpower. Here's a little psychology for you. Humans are wired to fill in gaps. When someone doesn't say much, our brains go into overdrive, trying to figure them out. This phenomenon, known as the Zeigarnik effect, makes people remember unfinished stories or unresolved situations far more vividly. In other words, when you don't spill every detail, others become more interested in you. Strategic silence lets you take full advantage of this quirk in human nature. Picture this scenario. You're in a meeting, and someone asks for your opinion. You pause. You let the room sit in attention for just a moment. Suddenly, everyone leans in. When you finally speak, your words carry weight, not because they're revolutionary, but because your silence made them feel important. Silence is like a seasoning. Use it sparingly, and it enhances everything. Overdo it, and you're just awkward. Now, let's talk about relationships. Imagine someone asks, "What's on your mind?" And instead of launching into a monologue about your day, you smile and say, "Just a few things. What about you?" This response creates an air of mystery. They'll spend the rest of the conversation wondering what's going on in your head. Are you plotting world domination? Are you recalling a funny cat video? They'll never know. And that's the point. Strategic silence isn't about being secretive or manipulative. It's about valuing your words enough to use them intentionally. The Stoics believe that speech should be purposeful and measured. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." Why waste words proving your worth when your actions can speak for you instead? Let's bring this home with a real-life application. Social media. Instead of sharing every meal, every thought, every sunset, try skipping a post here and there. Watch how quickly your followers start asking, "What's going on? Are they okay?" They'll create a whole narrative about you while you're off quietly living your best life. In a noisy world, strategic silence is magnetic. It draws people in, keeps them guessing, and leaves them wanting more. So next time you're tempted to overshare, take a breath, channel your inner Stoic, and remember, silence is golden, especially when it's intentional. Number 3. Focusing on personal goals. Marcus Aurelius, in all his Stoic wisdom, said it best, "Waste no time on what others think of you, for you are not accountable to their minds." And yet, here we are, constantly refreshing our phones for likes, comments, and any shred of validation that screams, "You're doing great, sweetie." But the truth is, nothing kills your attractiveness faster than abandoning your path to chase someone else's approval. Psychology has a term for this: external locus of control. It's when your happiness depends on outside factors, like what others think, say, or do. Unfortunately, this makes you a walking marionette, dancing to the whims of people who may not even know your name tomorrow. On the flip side, when you focus on personal goals and embrace an internal locus of control, you become your own master. And that's irresistible. Imagine this. You're at a group of friends, and everyone is comparing notes on their latest life updates. One friend is busy impressing everyone with tales of how they spent an hour curating the perfect Instagram post. Meanwhile, you casually mention you've been working on a passion project, learning guitar, starting a side hustle, training for a marathon. Who's more interesting? Hint: it's not the person with 500 likes on a photo of avocado toast. Focusing on your goals doesn't mean shutting out the world. It means prioritizing what truly matters to you. When you're deeply engaged in your ambitions, whether it's advancing your career, improving your health, or mastering a skill, you exude a magnetic energy. People can sense your self-sufficiency, and they're drawn to it because it's rare. Let's turn to another relatable example. Think about those quiet achievers in your life. They don't brag, they don't overshare, but they're always working towards something meaningful. Maybe it's your coworker who takes night classes to improve their skills, or your friend who's trained for a triathlon. These people are attractive not because they seek attention, but because they radiate purpose. The Stoics believe that true fulfillment comes from within, not from external applause. Epictetus once said, "Don't explain your philosophy. Embody it." Instead of trying to prove your worth to others, live a life so rich with purpose that your actions do all the talking. Here's a practical tip. Write down 3 goals that are just for you. Things you want to achieve, learn, or improve. Every day, dedicate time to these goals, even if it's just 10 minutes. As you make progress, you'll notice a shift. Not only will you feel more confident, but others will start noticing too. When you focus on personal goals, you send a clear message. I'm here to build a life, not an audience. And that level of self-assuredness, it's the kind of energy that turns heads without you even trying. Number 4. Maintaining the right distance. As the old saying goes, familiarity breeds contempt. While it might sound harsh, there's truth to it. When you're always present, always available, you risk becoming part of the background. On the flip side, when you maintain the right amount of distance, you become a rarity, something others actively seek out rather than take for granted. The Stoics understood this well. Seneca once wrote, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you. Welcome those whom you are capable of improving." The process is mutual, for men learn while they teach. What Seneca implies here is that quality matters far more than quantity in relationships. If you're constantly around without purpose or impact, your presence diminishes in value. Psychology supports this too. The scarcity effect tells us that people value less available things. It's why luxury items are limited edition, and why you're more likely to miss someone who isn't always around. This principle doesn't just apply to material things, it applies to you as well. Let's look at an everyday example. Imagine you have a colleague who's constantly chatting, sharing their every thought, and always present at every gathering. Compare that to another colleague who contributes thoughtfully during meetings, but keeps a low profile otherwise. When that second person speaks or attends an event, people notice. Why? Because their presence feels intentional, not obligatory. Maintaining the right distance doesn't mean disappearing altogether. It's about creating space to let people appreciate your presence. Think of it like a painting. Even the most beautiful masterpiece needs blank space around it to truly stand out. Here's a relationship example. You've just started dating someone. You're excited, they're excited, and the temptation to spend every waking moment together is strong. But overdoing it risks suffocating the spark before it even has a chance to grow. Instead, give each other room to breathe, and to miss one another. Let them wonder what you're up to, not because you're playing games, but because you value your own time and individuality. And what about work? If you're the employee who's always saying yes to extra tasks or volunteering for every committee, your contributions may start to go unnoticed. But if you step back, choose your moments, and focus on high-impact actions, your efforts will leave a stronger impression. As the saying goes, out of sight, out of mind, isn't true if you leave a deep enough mark. It's not about how often you show up. It's about the value you bring when you do. So whether it's in relationships, work, or social settings, remember this. Sometimes, less is more. By maintaining the right distance, you allow others the opportunity to seek you out, to value your presence, and to truly appreciate the unique energy you bring to their lives. It's not about withdrawing. It's about strategically choosing when and how to show up, on your terms. Number 5. Practicing discipline. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, once said, "No great thing is created suddenly, any more than a bunch of grapes or a fig year. If you tell me that you desire a fig, I answer you that there must be time. Let it first blossom, then bear fruit, then ripen." This quote embodies the essence of discipline, doing what needs to be done, consistently, even when it's not glamorous or immediately rewarding. In psychology, discipline is closely tied to self-regulation, the ability to control impulses and focus on long-term goals. Studies show that disciplined people are not only more successful, but also more respected. Why? Because discipline communicates reliability, perseverance, and self-respect, all traits that others naturally admire. Let's consider a common scenario. You make plans to meet a friend for coffee, but the day comes, and you're tempted to cancel. Maybe you're tired, or the weather isn't great. A disciplined person? They show up anyway. They value their commitments, not because it's convenient, but because their word means something. Over time, this consistency builds trust and respect, making them stand out in a world full of flaky behavior. Now think about health. A disciplined person doesn't hit the gym only when they feel motivated. They show up because they've committed to their well-being. They don't eat healthy just for a week. They make it a lifestyle. This kind of consistency radiates strength, not just physical, but mental as well. When others see you taking care of yourself, it sends a powerful message. I value myself enough to stay committed. Discipline isn't just about big goals. It's in the little things too. Keeping your workspace tidy, sticking to deadlines, or even maintaining a regular sleep schedule might seem mundane, but these habits compound over time. They create a sense of order and purpose in your life, which others can't help but notice. Here's a story to illustrate the impact of discipline. Imagine two co-workers, Alex and Taylor. Alex is a talented but inconsistent performer, missing deadlines and making excuses. Taylor, on the other hand, is steady, not necessarily flashy, but always reliable. When a big opportunity comes up, who do you think gets chosen? Discipline wins every time, because it builds a foundation of trust. The Stoics believed discipline wasn't just about doing hard things, it was about aligning your actions with your values. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." In other words, don't talk about your goals, live them. If you want to practice discipline in your own life, start small. Commit to something simple, like drinking enough water daily, or reading for 10 minutes before bed. Over time, these small wins will snowball into larger achievements, and the discipline you cultivate will become second nature. A disciplined person is a force to be reckoned with. They don't just show up, they show up prepared, consistent, and reliable. In a world full of distractions and shortcuts, discipline is a rare and powerful trait that leaves a lasting impression. So keep your promises, stay consistent, and take pride in the small daily actions that shape your character. Number 6. Investing in intellectual growth. Seneca, one of the great Stoic thinkers, once said, "As long as you live, keep learning how to live." In this single sentence lies a powerful truth. Intellectual growth isn't just about accumulating knowledge. It's about becoming the best version of yourself, day by day, thought by thought, lesson by lesson. Let's set the scene. Picture two individuals at a dinner party. The first one dominates the conversation, recycling surface-level anecdotes about the latest trends, gossip, or viral videos. The second, however, quietly shares insights from a book they've been reading or an interesting perspective they've recently explored. Who leaves a lasting impression? It's not the loud one, it's the curious one. The pursuit of knowledge is magnetic. People are naturally drawn to those who are always learning, always growing, and always asking questions. Why? Because intellectual curiosity signals vitality. It tells the world, I'm not stagnant, I'm evolving. And that's a rare quality in a time when so many settle for the status quo. Psychology backs this up with a concept called the growth mindset. People with a growth mindset believe that their abilities, intelligence, and understanding can always be expanded with effort and learning. This mindset doesn't just make you smarter, it makes you resilient, adaptable, and endlessly fascinating to others. Let's make this relatable. Imagine you're on a date. Your companion mentions they're taking up a new language or studying philosophy because they're intrigued by ancient wisdom. Wouldn't you lean in, ask questions, and feel inspired? Now imagine they say, I don't read much, I just stick to what I know. The difference? One radiates curiosity and ambition, the other complacency. Here's another example. Think about someone in your life who's always exploring new ideas. Maybe it's your friend who's learning coding in their free time, or your colleague who's diving into art history just because it interests them. These people are captivating not because they're geniuses, but because they're engaged with the world. Their intellectual growth becomes a story others want to be part of. Now, the Stoics believed that wisdom wasn't just about acquiring knowledge, it was about applying it. Epictetus once said, "Learning that does not lead to action is useless." In other words, don't just read for the sake of reading. Read to grow, learn, and evolve. So how can you embrace intellectual growth in your life? Start small. Pick up a book that challenges your perspective. Take an online course on something you've always been curious about. Engage in conversations with people who think differently than you. The goal isn't to know everything. It's to remain endlessly curious. And here's the twist. Intellectual growth isn't just about impressing others, though that's often a side effect. It's about building a richer, deeper life for yourself. Every new idea you encounter, every skill you develop, every insight you gain, it all adds layers to the person you're becoming. In the end, investing in your mind is the ultimate act of self-respect. It's a statement to yourself and the world. I am worth the effort. So, as the Stoics would advise, don't stop learning, because the moment you do, you stop living. Read, explore, grow, and watch how the world starts leaning in, eager to learn from you. Number 7. Valuing your self-worth. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, once wrote, "A man's worth is no greater than his ambitions." Yet, in today's world, too many of us are quick to shrink ourselves to fit someone else's expectations. We apologize for being too much or not enough, constantly measuring our value by standards we didn't set. But here's the truth. Your worth is not up for negotiation. Let me tell you a story. Imagine an artist who spends weeks pouring their heart into a painting. When they finally reveal it, someone walks by and dismisses it with a careless shrug. Does that diminish the painting's value? Not. The value of art doesn't change based on whether one person likes it or not. It remains a masterpiece because of the skill, passion, and creativity that went into it. You, my friend, are that masterpiece. Psychologically speaking, self-worth is the foundation of confidence. Research shows that people who understand their value are more likely to set boundaries, pursue meaningful goals, and form healthier relationships. Why? Because they don't waste time seeking approval from those who fail to see their worth. Here's a practical example. Have you ever apologized for something that didn't need an apology? Maybe you said, "Sorry, I'm just not good at that." Or, "I'm sorry if I don't meet your expectations." Every time you do this, you chip away at your confidence, subtly telling yourself, and others, that your value depends on meeting external standards. But what if, instead, you replace those unnecessary apologies with assertive honesty? Instead of, "I'm sorry I'm not what you expected," try saying, "This is who I am, and I'm proud of it." The Stoics believe that our value comes from within, not from the opinions of others. As Epictetus wisely said, "Know first who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly." To truly value yourself, you must first understand who you are, your strengths, your passions, your boundaries, and then unapologetically live in alignment with them. Think about the most confident people you know. They don't bend over backward to please others. They don't apologize for their quirks or try to be someone they're not. Instead, they embrace their individuality, and in doing so, they inspire others to do the same. If you want to start valuing yourself more, try this simple exercise. Write down 3 things you're proud of, qualities, achievements, or even small daily victories. Keep this list where you can see it, and remind yourself of it whenever self-doubt creeps in. Over time, this practice will shift your mindset, reinforcing the idea that your worth is inherent, not conditional. Remember, you are not here to meet everyone's expectations. You are here to live authentically, to pursue your dreams, and to build a life that reflects your unique value. So the next time someone questions your worth, or worse, you start questioning it yourself, channel your inner Stoic and remind yourself, I am enough as I am. Number 8. Learning to handle rejection. All rejection. The sting that makes us feel like the universe just kicked us off the guest list to life's coolest party. But here's the truth. Rejection isn't the end of the world. It's a redirection, a wake-up call, and sometimes, a blessing in disguise. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, never depend on the admiration of others. There is no strength in it. Personal merit cannot be derived from an external source. Let's put this into perspective with a relatable scenario. You're at your favorite coffee shop, and you muster up the courage to chat with a barista who's been serving you lattes with extra foam and extra smiles. You casually ask if they'd like to grab coffee sometime. Ironic, but cute. They politely decline, and suddenly, you feel like your latte's foam just spelled out, loser. But stop right there. Was it that bad? Did the world stop spinning? No. You're still you. Just minus one hypothetical coffee date. Psychologically, our fear of rejection is rooted in our evolutionary need for social belonging. Back in the caveman days, being rejected from the group could mean life or death. But guess what? You're not a caveman anymore. Rejection won't kill you. In fact, it might make you stronger. Take another example. You apply for your dream job. You've updated your resume, nailed the interview, and even worn your power socks. But then the email comes. We regret to inform you. You feel deflated, picturing yourself as the world's biggest failure. But here's the thing. That job wasn't the only opportunity in the world, and who's to say it was even the right fit? Sometimes, rejection is just life saying, not this one, but something better is coming. The Stoics believed in focusing only on what you can control. Epictetus also said, some things are up to us, and some things are not. A person's decision to reject you? Not up to you. How do you handle it? Entirely within your control. Here's a funny way to look at it. Think of rejection as life's version of swiping left. Does everyone you swipe left on lose their value? Of course not. It's just a mismatch, not a condemnation. The same applies to you when someone or something doesn't choose you. So, how do you handle rejection like a Stoic? First, acknowledge the sting. It's okay to feel disappointed. Then, shift your perspective. Instead of asking, what's wrong with me? Ask, what's next for me? Write down one thing you learned from the experience, and one positive thing that came out of it, even if it's just realizing how resilient you are. And here's a practical exercise. Intentionally face small rejections to build your tolerance. Ask for a discount at a store, or request an upgrade at a hotel. Sometimes you'll get a yes, and sometimes you won't, but either way, you'll learn that rejection isn't as scary as it seems. In the end, rejection is like a bad haircut. It feels monumental at the moment, but it's temporary, and you'll walk out of it stronger, wiser, and maybe even a little more stylish. So let go of what wasn't meant for you, and make space for what's coming. As the Stoics would remind you, don't cling to what isn't yours. Focus on what is. Number 9. Embracing controlled mystery. Picture this. You're at a gathering, and two people walk into the room. One immediately starts recounting their entire life story. Their job, their dog's name, the argument they had with a barista that morning. The other, they share a few thoughtful comments, smile politely, and then excuse themselves to refill their drink. By the end of the night, who's everyone still talking about? Spoiler alert, it's not the oversharer. Mystery is a powerful force. Humans are naturally curious creatures, drawn to the unknown. The less you reveal, the more people lean in, eager to fill in the blanks. It's Psychology 101, the information gap theory. When there's a knowledge gap, our brains can't help but try to bridge it. Controlled mystery, then, is like holding the pen to your own story, letting others wonder about the chapters you haven't written yet. But don't mistake mystery for aloofness. This isn't about being cold or evasive. It's about intentionality. The Stoics, masters of measured action, understood this well. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Let others see you as you are, but let them work for it." Translation? Be authentic, but don't hand over the whole manual. Here's a relatable example. Social media. Ever notice how some people document every waking moment of their lives, down to what they had for breakfast, while others post sporadically, leaving you wondering what they're up to? The latter group naturally sparks more intrigue. Why? Because they're not giving everything away. They understand that mystery invites attention while oversharing drowns it out. Let's bring this to real-life interactions. Imagine you're on a date, and your companion says, "Tell me about yourself." Instead of launching into a full autobiography, you share a few key insights. Your love for travel, your passion for cooking, and maybe a hint about a project you're working on. But you don't go into every detail. Instead, you pause, smile, and redirect the conversation. What happens? They're left intrigued and curious to learn more. That curiosity is the foundation of attraction. Controlled mystery is also about boundaries. When you choose what to share and what to keep private, you protect your energy and maintain control over your narrative. It's not about being secretive. It's about being selective. And when you're selective, you send a subtle but powerful message. I value myself, and not everyone gets full access. Here's a practical tip. The next time you're in a conversation, resist the urge to fill every silence with details about your life. Instead, ask thoughtful questions, listen actively, and share only what feels meaningful. Let others do some of the heavy lifting. Controlled mystery isn't just a strategy, it's a mindset. It's understanding that what you leave unsaid often speaks louder than what you do say. It's living in a way that invites curiosity, while staying true to yourself. So remember, life's most captivating stories aren't the ones that spill every secret up front. They're the ones that leave room for imagination. Be that story. Be that mystery. And let the world wonder. Number 10. Inspiring through action, not words. In the world of Stoicism, actions reign supreme. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. The Stoics believe that words without action are as fleeting as the wind, empty, powerless, and soon forgotten. It's what you do, not what you say, that leaves a legacy. Let's turn to history for some inspiration. Think of Mahatma Gandhi. When the British Empire imposed a salt tax on India, Gandhi didn't just give a speech condemning the injustice. Instead, he led the famous Salt March, a 240-mile journey to the sea where he collected salt in defiance of the law. His quiet yet powerful action resonated globally, sparking a movement that changed history. Gandhi didn't need grand declarations. His actions spoke louder than words ever could. Now consider another figure, Harriet Tubman. She didn't just talk about the evils of slavery. She risked her life to guide dozens of enslaved people to freedom through the Underground Railroad. Tubman's courage and determination weren't just inspiring, they were transformative. She could have stayed silent or made speeches from a safe distance, but she chose action. And it was her actions that cemented her place in history as a symbol of bravery and justice. Psychology also backs up the power of action. Studies show that people are more likely to be influenced by what they see than by what they hear. It's called behavioral modeling. When someone observes you taking meaningful, consistent action, they're inspired to follow suit. Words might spark an idea, but actions light the fire of change. Let's bring this concept into everyday life. Imagine you have a colleague who constantly talks about their big plans, writing a novel, running a marathon, or starting a business. But year after year, nothing materializes. Contrast that with someone who quietly works behind the scenes, and then one day announces, "I just published my first book." Who earns your respect? It's not the talker, it's the doer. Or think about your relationships. Have you ever had someone promise to change, to be better, or to make more time for you, but their actions never followed through? Words can soothe temporarily, but it's actions that heal, build trust, and inspire lasting admiration. Here's a practical way to embrace this Stoic principle. Start small. Instead of telling someone you'll support them, show up when they need you. Instead of announcing your goals to the world, quietly work toward them, and let the results speak for themselves. As the saying goes, don't tell people your plans. Show them your results. Even modern icons like Elon Musk embody this principle. Musk didn't revolutionize the car industry by delivering endless TED Talks. He built Tesla, proving through innovation and relentless action that sustainable energy is the future. Love him or hate him, his actions leave an undeniable impact. The Stoics remind us that inspiring through action isn't about perfection, it's about consistency. It's about doing the work, even when no one's watching, and letting your life be the proof of your values. So, the next time you're tempted to talk about what you're going to do, pause. Ask yourself, what if I just did it? Because in the end, it's not the speeches, the declarations, or the promises that define us, it's the legacy we leave through our actions. Be the person who doesn't just say the right thing, but does the right thing. And watch as the world follows your lead. Conclusion. So why do you become more attractive when you move away? Because distance breeds value and scarcity creates intrigue. When you prioritize your growth, maintain strategic boundaries, and live by Stoic principles, you naturally command respect and admiration. You stop chasing and start attracting. The 10 strategies we've explored today are not about tricks or manipulation. They're about becoming the best version of yourself and letting the transformation speak for itself. Each of these steps, mastering emotional control, practicing strategic silence, focusing on personal goals, and more, helps you reclaim your power. And when you live authentically and intentionally, you shine brighter than ever, whether or not you're in the room. Now, here's your final mission. Take what you've learned today and put it into action. But before you do, let's start with something simple. If this video resonated with you, hit the like button. Why? Because every click helps this content reach more people who need these insights. And if you're ready for more Stoic wisdom and actionable strategies, subscribe to the channel and join a community of people committed to living better. Finally, share this video with someone who might need a reminder of their worth. Together, let's spread these ideas and inspire others to focus less on seeking approval and more on becoming their best selves. Because when you invest in yourself, the world can't help but take notice.